Hello and welcome back to the Leinster Listen. I'm your host Mick Lenan and this is episode 32, the review of Ireland versus Wales in the Six Nations tournament. The episode's content today will be the overall opinion of the game, analysis of the game events, Six Nations positioning after this weekend, and a discussion point on the historic Italian win. So straight off, folks, into the opinion of that game. Wow, look, I mean, let's just go. We'll start off with my prediction anyway. I predicted a 39-12 to Ireland, so I was expecting a 27 deficit for the Welsh there, and obviously I was well off the mark. The actual score there was 27-17, and look, I'm going to take it as I was right for the amount of Welsh tries I did expect them to get. So I did say 2, and they got them too. But look, it turned out to be a very exciting test match, one that I definitely didn't expect to happen. We expected an absolute annihilation. The bookies predicted it as well. The pundits, the podcasters, we all did, myself included, obviously. But as we have learned, this Six Nations cannot be predicted. It's the most unpredictable Six Nations that has been for quite a while now. Arguably, probably the most dramatic Six Nations we've had in years. Yeah, Wales brought it to us. They had their A game on Friday. Their key was obviously in the contact and in their defence because it was just brilliant. It was so good. Of course, the biggest highlight there being Cara's line break try for himself, 136 kg prop, absolutely skinning 3 defenders for his solo try. Yeah, look, he stole the show. Looking back on it now, I think it's probably a viral clip coming out of the Six Nations again, and we're obviously on the back foot for those. But look, you'd probably nearly forget looking at that they haven't won a game this season. So yeah, look, they did very well. Anyway, let's get into the details so we can actually talk about it a bit. Scrums from us, yeah, look, mediocre at best. And once again, mediocre at best. We won 4 of them, we lost 1. And then we also lost the head 2 because Furlong had a spat with his opposite number there. It was just not great. Look, Wales brought it to us in scrummage. We won most of our own and we lost, I think it was just 1 from that. But in fairness, it looked like Wales dominated those scrums from the beginning. And I think it's something we definitely need to get right for this final game against Scotland because they really put it to the French as well. So, yeah, look, something we definitely need to look at again. And I think I feel like I've just been saying that from the very beginning of the Six Nations that our scrums have just not been there. And I know you can probably say, look, we're battling an awful lot of injuries, and that's probably fair. But I would have thought we got to get our act together at this point for the scrums. So yeah, look, not fantastic, but not the worst either. Going over there to the lineouts, yeah, absolutely excellent. The lineouts were very good. We won all 10 of our own lineouts, and not only that, but we stole 2 of theirs, and that's exactly what you want to see. Interestingly as well, Wales opted to go for a lineout maul pretty much every single time, and yeah, I think most other teams have opted for that because we just haven't been competing very well with that. But we held our own there. We did very good with the line-up mauls. Yeah, and, even Big Joe McCarthy there when he came on, he done one fantastic line-out steal. I don't know how he's so fast. Like, the speed at which he identified that quick ball was going to the front and he just snatched it. It was just unreal. Fair play to him. Moving over there to the defence. Yeah, look, Wales only had 2 line breaks that entire game. Now, unfortunately, they also had 2 tries, but one of them being an absolute wholly embarrassing situation when Rhys Carr scored a try, and I did talk about it already. But yeah, look, we need to do better than that. We can't be letting a prop outrun some of our defenders there. Not great. But overall, 2 line breaks in 80 minutes is fantastic. We also had an 88% tackle success rate. That's perfect. And then on top of that, we had 10 huge turnovers as well. And look, the defensive point of view of that match was so good. There were so many jackals going in. We were so fast to ruck. We were doing counter rucking as well. It's exactly what you want to see in terms of defence. Now with that, 19 minutes of that was a Welsh attacking structure. So they only had 19 minutes of attack. So when you only have to defend against 19 minutes of proper attack play, I guess your defence is probably not too bad anyway. But look, it's impressive. I'm impressed with the defence. I'm going to go with it. The attack, yeah, look, a little bit meh for me. I think the Welsh has had our number. They had our number from the beginning. And look, we didn't exactly make it any much difficult for them either. We were we were meeting. They were meeting now. Like pass to player X who was at pace and let them smash through. We're doing that non-stop, but they met us with 2 defenders every single time, and were soaking in those tackles. In some occasions, completely pushing us back in those, so we weren't even getting over the gain line. But yeah, it was. I think it would have been a little bit better if we started to do some grubber kicks, some kicks over the top. And I know, Jesus, here we go, Mick is talking about doing some kicks over the top, and we literally just been giving out about it with the French game. But you know, it's more so that you have to start looking at why can't we change our attack play when we identify that it's not working, especially going into the half time there, coming out from that. It was 10-12 going in at half time. We should have been able to say, right, look, what we're doing probably isn't working. Let's try identify smaller ways to do it. You know, maybe those loop pass over the top out to the wings who are just smashing through anyway. That's not working. Yeah, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit more depth from Crowley there. A little bit more depth from Jameson and Parks. Just do those little over the top kicks. You know, not huge box kicks into the air and try win the aerial battle. Just, you know, do what the French are doing. Little sporadic kicks that puts the defence under pressure to run back, and then utilise that. We have fast players. Utilise those players. You know, we seem very rigid, and maybe it's put down to like making Andy Farrell made an awful lot more changes this week than he probably should have. And yeah, look, we only had 7 line breaks. That's a stat that shouldn't happen. 5 more line breaks than the Welsh. That'll tell you how well they did in defence. And like we had 56% possession. So, you know, 187 carries. We should be doing better than that. We should be doing way better than that. And again, we just try to keep going same flow. And yeah, look, obviously there is a bit of silver lining here. We did score 4 tries. We got the bonus point, job done. But I would like to see a little bit more depth there. Like if you look at the Scottish game against France, they were putting balls left, right, like the hook play they were doing, hooking lad in and having lad coming and going around the outside and really putting that defence under pressure, like really just making it completely random. You know, those kind of interesting plays there, instead of just, you know, throwing it to Conan and Conan has to smash through the next player, and then it's recycled out to Byrne who's at pace, smash through the next player. Like, that's grand if you have some sort of cool play or savvy play coming up, but it just felt like that's what we were just doing non-stop, and we weren't getting over that gain line. I thought we definitely had the depth for that, but look, it is what it is. Got the bonus point try and we won, so you can't really complain all that much from it. Look, yeah, I suppose from that I do tend to go for these ones into some notable players, some not able players, and some neutral players for the Leinster team. And yeah, look, we're going to start off here by saying Joe McCarthy. Big Joe, massive impact sub there. The line-out seal, as I said, was absolutely unreal. He really brought an air of excellence on with him. Fantastic. You couldn't fault him, really. Jack Conan there, yeah, look, 2 tries. He really did get 2 tries. One of them I know was ruled out, but he played a blinder. He's such a good player. He's so consistent. He's so good. He deserves to be in that notable players list. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have many players on the pitch, so I'm going to go straight over to not able players here. And yeah, just Gary Ringrose. He had a couple of spilled passes. He missed 1 or 2 tackles. Just wasn't his day. Just wasn't there. I felt like he was anonymous again. I hate saying that, but look, he for me, he definitely was. Another one as well, Jamie Osborne. I know he scored a try. Like, this might be a bit controversial now, but he scored a try. I get that, but I thought he really messed up his defensive position in there in full back. The Carr try was as equally as his fault as it was Balcoon's. Like, obviously Balcoon should have smashed Carr or even just acted like a speed bump. But Osborne was completely off his mark there. He should have been able to stretch those out. It's his job to make sure that line is solid, and I just feel like he didn't do it. And as well as that, there was a couple of aerial battles there. He was just, a couple of mistakes here, knocks on, not really catching it, not really competing too well. So yeah, unfortunately for me, it's Gary Ringrose and Jamie Osborne as not able players. And then for the neutral player, I think he was my neutral player last time as well, which he's going to hate. I really hope he's not listening to these episodes. But yeah, Josh van der Fleer, he did his job. Did a solid job, but it just wasn't spectacular. And I think we need to go back to when he was just a rocket. Whatever happened to him, maybe it's, as I said, just the Lions hangover again. But Jesus, I remember watching him play. and it's just he's electric. He's so good, but it feels like he's lost his jazz or something. It's just he's not really the same Josh van der Fleer as he was. Look, maybe he's just getting older as well, but yeah, would definitely want to see more of him. Obviously, he did his job. He did a solid job. He didn't do a bad job. So yeah, for me, he's the most neutral player. Going over there for the referee, Carl Dixon. Yeah, look, he was grand. I can't see too many crazy decisions cropping up. Above all things, that was a nice thing that we hadn't had a decision from the referee being like, oh God, that cost the Welsh the game, or that cost the Irish the game. So when you don't have a big point to talk about when it comes to referee, he probably did a good job. Look, I suppose in a line to describe that whole thing, an ugly win, but a win nonetheless. And I think that has rang true for an awful lot of the Leinster matches that we've seen as of late. But yeah, it's exactly that. Alright, so going into the match events here, 6th minute, we had a try for Ireland, Jacob Stockdale. Yeah, look, perfect start for us. Stockdale ran a completely clinical line off Stuart McCluskey, and he just absolutely sliced through the Welsh defence here. So, perfect opener for us, and that was actually converted by Jack Crowley. Brought the score to Ireland 7, Wales 0. 17th minute then, we actually gave away a penalty to Wales. Yeah, we were caught offside. It was actually a period of about 2 or 3. We definitely could have gotten a yellow card there at that point, and Edwards just stepped up, slotted that over. 3 points brought the score there to Ireland 7, Wales 3. We had to wait a long time then. 37th minute, try for Ireland, Jack Crowley. Yeah, look, we had a sustained pressure there. As I said, it was just that kind of smash through play, smash through. And Crowley actually played a really nice dummy there, kind of set himself up for his own try. He could have drifted that out to Jacob Stockdale again, but decided to go himself. Now, unfortunately, he did miss that conversion, his own conversion. So the score then was Ireland 12, Wales 3. 42nd minute, and right before the half time, well, I suppose it was in the red, a try for Wales, and this was the moment everyone has seen on the internet. Rhys Cara, yeah, look, it was an embarrassment really for us that a prop was able to beat 3 defenders. But look, he shrugged off Balcoon. Osborne's completely off the mark, and he ran probably about 15 metres. Or no, it was actually more. It was like 25 metres on his own. A fast man for 132 kg, must say. But look, perfect try for him, and delighted for him. He had the biggest smile on his face after it. That was actually converted then as well by Dan Edwards. Brought a score to the half-time score. Ireland 12, Wales 10. 44th minute, didn't have to wait too long, straight after restart. Try for Ireland, Jack Conan. Yeah, look, we came out firing all cylinders, fantastic. They conceded a penalty. We worked off that with a nice little tap and go, and yeah, perfect try there. That was converted successfully. Jack Crowley brought the score to Ireland 19, Wales 10. 63rd minute then, try for Wales, James Botham. Yeah, look, they just didn't want to give up, and they had a huge multi phase carry play there, and Botham just found a lovely little gap there, and it was unfortunate for us. Our defence just really lacked a little bit, and that was converted successfully. Dan Edwards brought a score to Ireland 19, Wales 17. Now that's obviously putting us under pressure there that we missed those conversions. 68th minute then, try for Ireland, Jamie Osborne. Yeah, this was an interesting one, because he could have, the way it was, we'd a penalty at the left side. It was Jamison Gibson Park running up and absolutely smashing through Louis Rees-Zammit, and could have scored himself, but just held up before the line. We actually got they got a yellow card from this. We also got a penalty from that because they committed side from that. But the phase play after that was interesting, because it went out to Jamie Osborne, and by right, from when I was watching it first, I said he should have passed out to Balcoon, because he got absorbed in a tackle going himself when he really didn't need to take the risk. But anyway, look, he got over, won that try, no bother. And that conversion was unsuccessfully kicked by Jack Crowley. Brought the score to Ireland 24, Wales 17. Yeah, as I said, they also got a yellow card from that. So that was Thomas Williams gone for 10 minutes there for that, professional foul essentially. So yeah, 77th minute then, pretty much right before the close of the game, we got a penalty there. The Welsh were very tired at that point. They were caught offside a ruck. Crowley was fairly easy kick for him, straight over the bar, And that brought the score and the final score, Ireland 27, Wales 17. Player of the match here was Jack Conan, and rightly so. He scored a crucial try, technically scored two, one was ruled out. And look, he led by example. Several massive hits. A huge turnover there as well when the Welsh were threatening us on our 5 metre, and then a couple of very dominant carries as well. So Jack Conan definitely deserving of that player of the match. Okay, so where does that leave us in the Six Nations table? Right, we are third. So I think we were actually still third going into this, but we retained our position, which is always a good thing. France are in first with 16 points after getting a bonus point from their big defeat in Murrayfield. Scotland are in second after their big win in Murrayfield with 16 points. Ireland, are in third with 14 points. Italy are in fourth with 9 points after their historic win over England. I'll go through that now later on in the discussion point. England are in fifth with 6 points, and Wales are still in last with their single point. The next game is Ireland versus Scotland. That's Saturday 14th of March at 2:10 p.m. It's the first one. All the games will be on Saturday, so it'll be a super Saturday for rugby now next Saturday. And that's in the Aviva Stadium and has been sold out for quite a while now, and I highly doubt you'll even get any resale tickets at this point, because that's going to be electric. Okay, so discussion point. Yeah, look, historic Italian win. First ever Italian win over England. 33 attempts since 1992. And look, can I just say, I'm not going to curse, but I called it in the episode. I called it in the preview episode. I said Italy are something else at home. They're after beating Scotland at home. And if Scotland bet England at home, therefore Italy beats England at home. And look, there you go. Came true. Place was absolutely mental over there in Rome in the Stade Olimpico. And look, that is not a fluke by any account. They earned every single point of that. It was such a magnificent game for them. I'm delighted for them. And it's really proven that Northern Hemisphere rugby has just come up a step. Like, the Italians were always pretty much said they were a 60-minute team, but you can't fault them. They were so clinical. They were so good. And look, it obviously helped that Curry had been injured in the warm-up, and I was devastated for that because he was in my fantasy league. But yeah, look, Underhill had come in late. Obviously, it's going to be a big disruption to the play there. A huge player, Tom Curry, there going off before the game even started. But look, you have to talk about the two tries there, like Freeman and Roebuck. Like, England were 12-10 at the break. So away, being 2 points up at the break, they had it controlled. Completely no alarm bells there. But it was just like the Italians went into that that break and probably said to themselves, look, this is it, lads, we have to do it. And, a couple of Finn Smith penalties, and when they came back out, brought that, he sent that lead out to 18-10. It looked like it was over, especially when the Italians got a yellow card. It should have been game over. But it was just immense. They put on so much pressure, and then the English just folded. They completely folded. Like, Sam Underhill got a sin bin, and then it just completely shifted. It like it just kicked the Italians into gear. Garbisi was unreal, so cool, calm and collected, getting the 2 penalties back to back, perfect. And then none other than Maro Itoje, the captain of England, getting sin binned for an absolutely ridiculous foul play, like slapping the ball outside of a line-out maul off the player, like completely offside. It's just it was crazy. But that was the moment. You could tell that the Italians were going to win it. Like, okay, fair enough, 13 men on the pitch for England. Now, one of them was only 2 minutes left for that yellow card. But it was like it just switched on for Italy. They were like, right, if we ever have a chance to win this, it's now. And if you were watching the match, you would have seen that cross-field kick all the way to Ioane. And he ran up alongside Melancello, offloads it. And then it gets to offload it then to Marin at the very end. Oh my God, what, like, electric. Goosebumps on my arms. Even now, actually, just thinking about it. 8 minutes left. Like, Italy never looked back. It was unreal. And now, in fairness, like, England really put it back to them, but Italy just held their own. And I remember seeing it 3 minutes to go, and Italy went for a box kick, and I was like, oh Jesus, would not just hold on to the ball. But look, they did it. They did everything right. Absolute massive turnover then in the end. Kicked it in for a penalty into a line out, and out it went. And the place erupted, lads. Oh Jesus, absolutely amazing. Stars of the show there: Melancello, 3 line breaks, 8 defenders defeated. 1 try and 1 try assist. Unreal. And then Garbisi as well. Look, I have always felt for Garbisi when he missed that kick, the final kick to beat France, and I feel like that was his moment to be like, I'm never letting that happen again. So a fantastic game by him. And I kind of, it was such a momentous win. But really, the flip side of this is the big England question here. Like 3 losses in a row now. I think it's their worst ever Six Nations campaign. Like straight away. And now they have to go and play in Stade de France after suffering a huge defeat to Scotland. My God, like we're looking at 4 losses in a row, really, unless something momentous happens. And then Borthwick's comments after, he was like, "Oh, we were in control for 60 minutes." Yeah, 60 minutes, and then you threw to win the last 20 because you've absolutely no discipline whatsoever. Like that's what killed them against Scotland as well. So, like if you have to put it down to it, it was the Italians were so hungry for it, and the English they were off the mark. They just were getting in their own head. They brought on Pollock, who absolutely did nothing. Like they have this air of them that they're just defeated. It's so crazy, and this isn't a once-off for Italy. They have done so well. They've done so well, and I it kind of pains me that they're not above us even on the table. I think they actually nearly deserve to be above us. Like they nearly beat us as well in the Aviva. That would have been crazy. But look, isn't it a great time to be watching Six Nations, lads? This is a year we'll remember for so many years. Alright folks, so that is it. Thanks for listening again. As always, if you haven't followed social media, please do, put some comments there. Let me know what you thought about the crazy weekend of rugby we just had. And as always, thanks for listening.